outside, the best light for reading being there. He marched boldly in and stood before me. "The rector wants you." Kitchen lads are rarely respectful, and were I not opposed to violence in all its forms, I could cheerfully have clipped his ear. Of course, he knows which lecturers are clerics, and therefore which he can irritate with impunity. Me? Why?
"He won't tell the likes of me that, will he?"
said the impudent scallywag. I finished my tankard with one draught and followed him back to the academy building. It was dark and the cobbles were slippery. A man could easily tumble into a canal, and many do, though this possibility seemed lost on the boy, who skipped happily along at speed. It took only a few minutes to walk to the academy, where the rector's candle shone from an upper window. The boy insolently tapped the door with his hand.
"This is the place,"
he said. "I know," I told him. "I work here." The boy shrugged.
"Rector's upstairs. He said I could have a piece of pie if I brought you inside half an hour, so I'm off to the kitchens."
I made my way up the stairs to the rector's chambers. He seemed pleased to see me and invited me to sit by the fire, abandoning the work on his desk to come and stand beside me. The rector was a slight man, old-fashioned in his appearance and usually dressed in severe black with a small skull-cap of black wool. His beard was white, trim, pointed, and his eyes were a bright blue. In this light they appeared even brighter than usual. He rested an arm on the mantelpiece and poked a log with his toe.
"You will, no doubt, wonder why I have summoned you by night and chose to use a butcher's lad instead of my servant to do so. You may also wonder why it could not have waited until the morning."
I judged that the question was rhetorical and made no effort to answer.
"I have received a letter from the mayor of Delft. They have an urgent need of an educated man, and so naturally they sought one from Leiden, more specifically from me. They ask for someone with a quick wit, a knowledge of God's law, and abundant energy. I see all these in you, and more beside."
"May I ask why someone is needed?" He rubbed his chin.
"You may, but I won't answer. I want you to travel with a blank mind, a tabula rasa upon which anything may be written by God's grace. I know very little anyway, so I will leave it to the mayor to explain. There is a meeting of the leading citizens of Delft at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in the town hall. Please be there."
He returned to his desk and handed me a pouch.
"A letter of introduction and commendation, and some expenses towards the journey. Keep an account, and any shortfall will be defrayed on your return. The mayor may offer you some too, which you may accept, but must record in receipt. A barge will leave at 6 tomorrow morning from the fish market. The skipper will take you along the Vliet to Delft."
I nodded. I would prefer not to rise so early, but it ill becomes a religious man to say so, since he would miss the first prayers of the day. "I am at your service, Rector," I replied with a formal bow and walked towards the door. I have never mastered the combination of walking backwards and bowing at the same time, and fortunately the rector does not expect it, though I think he prefers his members of staff to be able to maneuver their backsides between the doorposts without banging a hip on the open door, as I managed to do.
"One last thing,"
he said, so I stopped retreating and stood up straight. The rector was sitting at his desk and declined to look me in the eye, preferring to sign papers as he spoke. "Sir?"
"I have no influence in Delft. If you find yourself in difficulty, I will not be able to help you. Therefore, master, I bid you be discreet."
I knew what he meant, but not how he knew it needed saying, and that worried me rather more. I had a secret, which he must have known or guessed, which is the cause of certain difficulties. In a reformed land, I am a Catholic. If this were generally known, a lot of doors would be closed to me. When I was ordained a few years ago in France, the bishop bade me to keep my ordination secret for the time being. His reasoning was simple. From time to time, the Protestants rounded up all the priests they could find and burned them, and while this had never been a great sport in Holland, he saw fit not to take the chance. It is my belief that His Grace had it in mind to create a church in reserve that could be activated if the original were paralyzed. In fact, the position in Holland today for Catholics is tolerable. We can build churches provided they do not front a main road. We must not gather outside to talk and must leave services in small numbers. We must not advertise anything happening in our church, and we must not upset the neighbors. This would be a minor awkwardness were it not the case that I was also ordained as a Protestant minister. I never intended to act as one, but it was a condition of the stipend that kept me at the university, and at the time I accepted it, I had not yet been ordained a Catholic priest. I admitted it to but one man, the French bishop I mentioned earlier, who simply smiled and said it was very ecumenical of me. He then observed that